Carl Boltzmann here. Welcome back to my studio. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about RJD2. In particular, we're going to be taking a look at his track, Someone's Second Kiss, from his 2004 album, Since We Last Spoke. Now, RJD2 is a big name to me because when I was growing up, this album, Since We Last Spoke, and his earlier album, Dead Ringer, were a pretty big deal. They really had a big influence on me and kind of showed a lot of what you could do with music, and especially while using samples as an instrument. Similar to what DJ Shadow did when he kind of pushed the boundaries of what you could do with samples. I would argue that RJD2 did a similar thing in the late 90s and the early 2000s with his kind of mastery of the MPC 2000 that he was using. Now, a lot of people out there might know RJD2 from his track, The Horror, from his 2002 album, Dead Ringer. Now, there isn't actually too much information out there about RJD2 samples that he's used. There's a little bit. But this song, The Horror, was quite well known to have used Gershon Kingsley's Hey Hey from his 1969 album, Music to Moog By. Now, I didn't really know that much about Gershon Kingsley, but he was clearly one of the pioneers of electronic music, and this album, Music to Moog By, is fantastic. Now, I was also pleasantly surprised to find out that he was also the composer of this very famous track, Popcorn, from the same album, Music to Moog By. Now, there's probably a more famous cover of Popcorn by his musical friend who formed a band called Hot Butter, and he released this version of Popcorn in 1972. But let's get back to RJD2 and his track, Someone's Second Kiss. So like I said, this track is one of my favorite from his 2004 album, Since We Last Spoke. In fact, I think this is my favorite track off the album. But there are genuinely so many good tracks on the album. And if you guys want to let me know in the comments what is your favorite track from this album, or even give me your favorite track from Dead Ringer, which was his 2002 album that preceded this one. So there unfortunately isn't actually all that much information out there about samples that RJD2 used. And that includes this track. There wasn't anything out there that I could find. But I did some digging, and I actually managed to find where this sample comes from, the main keyboard sample. So that sample actually comes from the UK blues artist Chris Rea, and it's their 1986 track, Little Blonde Plaits. Now, I've certainly been surprised by samples in the past and their origins, but this one to me was very shocking. Someone's Second Kiss is one of my favorite tracks from my youth. I love this song so much. And to think that its main loop comes from that track is mind-blowing to me. RJD2 did a great job on this album, and just generally speaking, of the drums that he put in his tracks. And the drums in Someone's Second Kiss really bring out that loop so well. It's incredible. He hit this pocket with that track where the drums are really loose, but really tight at the same time. There's a lot of articulation in all the hits that are happening here. I would love to know where he got some of his drum samples from, but kind of by virtue of the way that he cuts them up and manipulates them, I can tell that this sample was pitch shifted up, and it was very likely a few different samples mashed together. But maybe one day we'll know exactly where this sample came from, and I can revisit this and deconstruct it further. But what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to do my best to try to remake these drums on my drum kit over there and put that over top of this Chris Rea loop.